guys! Today I'm going to be filming, I guess it's kind of a vlog. This, I'm hoping, if I have time, is going to be the start of kind of a mini series of vlogs that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've kind of talked about this subject matter before, but I kind of wanted to devote some specific videos to it, and that's kind of how to maintain like a healthy and balanced life working as an artist, and how that coincides with having mental health illnesses or issues or anything like that. I have mentioned many times on my Instagram and on my Facebook in the past, like I'm not shy about admitting that I have anxiety and I have depression, and I've had them for several years, and it's something that ends up being kind of a really big hurdle when it comes to being self-employed, when it comes to having a career that really can kind of beat down on you sometimes. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how having mental health illnesses can really affect you as an artist, and ways that I've found you can either cope with them, or that I've learned from experience are bad ways to cope with them, or bad habits to have that can make it a lot worse for you. Because I feel like a lot of times people feel really alone, both when it comes to being an artist and both when it comes to having mental health illness, because you feel like, you know, you don't have anyone to talk to about it, or you just feel like you don't have any reason to be sad, so why are you, or all of it's very confusing or doesn't feel rational, and so that can be very isolating and very hard to deal with. So I just wanted to talk about, you know, my experience with it. Hopefully it can help someone, or at least make someone feel like they can relate, because I found that, like, when I've watched vlogs from other people talking about their mental illnesses, it really made me feel like, oh, I'm not alone in this, and that really helped me. So today's specific video is actually going to be about maintaining a healthy work life, and how to cope with things like when you have depression and anxiety, and how normal things that might be easy for people to cope with are not super easy when you have to deal with that. So just like as a kind of a side story that's totally related, the reason I haven't been around very much online except for on Instagram is just because I did the opposite of all of these healthy things you should be doing. I completely overbooked my schedule. I was not taking care of myself mentally or physically. I was just doing everything wrong that I know wasn't good, but I felt like I had to do it because my current financial situation is kind of unstable sometimes, and so when a big gig came up, I wanted to take it because I really needed the money, but I recently took on this gig that was going to help pay my bills, but it was on top of other gigs that I already had, that I also couldn't get out of, so I ended up kind of overloading my schedule. I got a new job, so I was working, you know, a part-time job and like 2 or 3 different contracts at the same time. I'm still finishing them up and working on them right now, but some of them have slowed down or tapered off so I can kind of focus a little bit better. And it really, really drained me. Like, it was horrible. I was like super stressed out, super anxious, like freaking out, having anxiety attacks. Like, I felt terrible for a brief period of time. I was just like, I didn't want to get out of bed. My body started just like not cooperating at all. Like, I would try to sleep for a couple hours because I'd been up all night and set my alarm, and I would sleep through 7, 8, 9 alarms because my body was just like, nope, you are gonna collapse on yourself. So it was all very, very unhealthy, and that is a horrible, horrible way to go about doing anything, regardless of if you're in a creative field or not. You really shouldn't do that to your body, because the thing is, everyone almost, like, if you're online and stuff, or you're in college or wherever, you kind of romanticize this like work ethic of like pulling all-nighters and like raging, and I can do this and I can just stay up all night and do it. You shouldn't do that. Like, it's really unhealthy. Like, I used to do that in college, and I was unhealthy then, and it's worse now because I stopped doing that for a while, and my body got used to like being kind of healthy, and then I tried to go back to doing stuff like that, and you shouldn't. Like, it ruins your sleep schedule, it ruins your physical and mental health. Like, it's awful. So like, these are all, there's like a lot of negative effects. Also, sorry, in the background you can hear construction. They're doing a ton of construction on the house next door, and it's just been like super loud lately. There's a lot of negative effects. Like, it will, if you have depression, anxiety, anything like that, it will make it worse. Absolutely. If you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not eating correctly, if you're burdening yourself with an excess amount of work, it's gonna make it worse. I personally, up until the point where my body was just like falling asleep sitting up because I couldn't stay awake anymore, the stress and anxiety of having so much work to finish was giving me insomnia because I'd try to get some sleep and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep because my brain was just like, you have too much work to do. You shouldn't even be sleeping right now. So it would give me insomnia, which made it even worse. It made me even more tired. And it can affect your physical health if you didn't know this. Like, messing with your sleep schedule or not eating healthily or, not getting enough exercise or not really taking care of yourself in those ways will affect your physical health really badly. Like, besides the obvious of like, eating junk food all the time because you don't have time to cook is very unhealthy for you. Overdoing it on coffee and caffeine can wreck your stomach. Stress in and of itself can wreck your stomach. I was in the hospital last year. Last year? Yeah. Because, was it the year before? Honestly, it was a while ago. It was like 2015 maybe. I was in the hospital because I was super stressed out. I was drinking 6 cups of coffee a day. I was eating junk food all the time, and I ended up developing gastritis, which is where the lining of your stomach gets inflamed, and it put me in the hospital. And the nurse was like, do you have a really stressed out schedule? And I was like, yes. And she was like, that can make it so much worse. Like, that could directly ruin, because like, I don't know if you know this, like, your brain is like directly connected to your stomach. So if you're super freaking out, it will make, like, that's why people who are stressed get stomach aches. Like, so it was like a huge mess. And all of those things can happen if you're not taking care of yourself. Sorry if this is rambly, by the way. Like, I even like made notes of stuff I wanted to talk about, and then I'm just like rambling right now, as I do. Anyways, so we all know the bad things that come from not maintaining your schedule correctly and overdoing it and overworking. And that's not to say like you can't have like a full schedule and you can't work really hard and get a lot of stuff done. Like, you can, but the number one thing I feel is know your limits. Like, you should absolutely know what you can manage and what you can't, because you shouldn't dread how much stuff you have to do. Like, if you want to have a full schedule and you're the type of person that thrives off always having something to do and you're excited about it and you know that you can do it, that's one thing. But if you have all this stuff and it's just like making you want to cry, you're probably not handling it correctly. One thing I've found really works for me, like my personal personality type, is having a planner. Like, having a really strict schedule really, really helps me because I need to know exactly what I'm doing so I can time manage it. And that includes things that aren't work related. Like, I keep a planner and I schedule free time in it. If I have a day that I know I've been working, like 2 weeks in a row or something like that, like straight, I will set aside a Saturday afternoon and be like, you are going out this day and there's no work on this day, because if I don't, I'll just kind of, I don't know, I'll keep working, or I'll feel really stressed about it, or I'll feel really guilty about it. So if you're someone who kind of struggles to time manage really well, get a planner. Like, they're not expensive. Like, mine was kind of expensive because I'm ridiculous like that, but you can get one for $1 at the dollar store or in the dollar section at Target, and write down what you're going to do that day, and don't overdo it. Don't put 500 things you're going to do that day. A lot of people recommend the top 3 things you're going to get done in a day. So today I need to finish the pencil sketch for this commission, and I need to go to the bank, and I need to do my laundry. Those are the 3 things I need to get done today. If you finish them and you have time to work on something else and you feel good doing it, okay. But schedule the most important priority things for that day. Try not to procrastinate. I procrastinate a lot. It has done me no favors ever. I'm getting slightly better about it just because it's not really worth the stress and pain of like waiting till the last minute to do something. So a lot of like positive self-talk, like, you're going to feel better once this is done. Once this is done, you can go to sleep or you can go out or do whatever. Positive self-talk instead of negative self-talk in general is a really good thing to develop. It takes time to make it a habit, and it feels weird at first, but you really should kind of look at things positively. Like, look at what you achieved today, or look how good you'll feel when this is done, or just get through this one thing, and you'll have free time after, or you'll be able to get through the next thing if you can just start. So really kind of positively reinforcing yourself instead of getting down on yourself, like, why didn't I get this work done today? Makes a huge difference too. Like, it really, really does. And also, this is so important because I have failed to do this in the past and it ruined me. Learn when to say no to work if you can. I get it. We all have bills to pay and we all have expenses in life. It's expensive being an adult. Depending on where you live, it's super expensive. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Oof. But if you don't have to take a job, don't feel obligated to because you don't want to like like someone's not going to get mad if you're too busy to take on more commissions right now. Like you'll just like, my schedule doesn't allow for it right now. I can contact you when I have more time. Because if you just keep saying yes and yes and yes, you're going to have a load of work. Everything's going to be half-assed. Like you're not going to put your best effort into all of it, and you're going to be super stressed out. And I've definitely done that before where I felt like, oh, I really need the money, or I could use the money or have it saved up if I just take this. Like someone's interested. I can't say no to them. Yes, you can. You can. You can turn down clients. You can turn down clients because you don't have time. You can turn down clients because you're getting a really bad vibe from them and you think it's going to cause excess stress in your life. You don't have to take the clients every single time. You don't have to. It's really better to get away from overworking yourself or to get away from a bad client or anything like that. Like your mental health is worth more in the end. And like I said, I understand that you have expenses and sometimes you need to take it. But know that if you can get around it, you don't have to, and you shouldn't. Yeah. And the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about in terms of taking care of yourself, these are all obvious things, and I feel like we all know them, and we all forget them. But taking care of yourself physically and mentally, like, involves things like drinking enough water every day. Like, make sure you're drinking water. I bought a kind of, not super expensive, but like a nice, like, Brita filter water bottle. It's like 32 ounces. And I try to make a point of drinking at least 1 to 2 bottles a day, which is not as much as you should be drinking, but it's more than none. And since it's like a cute bottle I like carrying around, it has a nice little straw, so it's easy to drink out of. The water's filtered, so it tastes good. It kind of makes it easier for me to drink it. And I feel better when I drink more water than like soda or juice. I do feel better. Don't overdo the caffeine. I am many times over guilty of getting in a super stressful situation and just like downing cup after cup of coffee. Don't do that. If you really feel like you need a kick, switch to decaf because sometimes the placebo is enough. But don't, because if you're already stressed out, and like I said, stress can ruin your stomach, and then you put a ton of caffeine on top of it, you're heading straight towards what I did, which is getting gastritis or just like having an upset stomach all the time. It's really bad for your body anyways to have that much excess caffeine. Like you really shouldn't be drinking it as often as most of us do. So try to say no to that if you can. Like I said, switch to decaf. There's a million kinds of tea that are low or no caffeine that also taste good. If you just feel like you need to be drinking something while you're working, switch to tea. I switched to ginger lemon tea, and that was great for a while, like when I wasn't drinking caffeine, like that was awesome. So do that. Get enough sleep. Schedule sleep, because you will work better if you get enough sleep. Like instead of staying up all night and like realizing you worked like half as fast as you usually do because you're tired, you would have been better off getting sleep and working during the day and not being exhausted during the day and at nighttime. It takes some work to get a healthy sleep schedule going. Like you really need to kind of schedule it, but after a little while, like a couple weeks, your body will fall back into the rhythm of it and you'll feel a lot better. There are times when I have a terrible sleep schedule, but there have been times where I really had that healthy sleep schedule, and after a few weeks, I was able to get up in the morning when I wanted to. I didn't have to hit my snooze button. I didn't sleep through my alarm. I woke up because my body started waking up naturally at that time. I would go to bed at a decent hour at night, get a full, 7 hours is good for me, and it made me work better. So if you can, schedule the time for you to sleep properly and, really kind of get your body back into a good place with your sleep cycle. Make sure these two things coincide. I said make sure you exercise and make sure you give yourself breaks. These can be the same thing. You need to take breaks. A lot of people recommend working for an hour and then taking like a 5 to 10 minute break. Just get up and walk around or look away from your computer screen or do something, because your brain can only do so much before you kind of like burn it out and it just short circuits, and then you realize you've been staring at your paper for an hour without doing anything. So work for an hour, give yourself a 5-minute break. Get up and walk around your house. Get up and walk around the block. Like, I don't know where you live. Walk up and down your stairs a couple times. It gets you active. Exercise, as everyone knows, if you do it often and it becomes a habit, boosts your energy. It can really boost your mental health. All of these things are really meant to kind of improve your physical and mental health. But yeah, try to get out there and get up and moving a little bit. You'll feel better. It energizes you. So if you don't remember to do that, set a timer on your phone. There are a million like productivity apps that have this thing where you set it and it's like you don't touch your phone for an hour because it like locks it or whatever, and then you get a 10-minute break and then you get up and walk around. So look into those. Like, there are a million apps for everything. I have apps for procrastination, and I have apps for my alarms and for mental health and all this stuff. So use it. We have the technology, so use it. And really, like, all of these things do kind of combine to become like a lifestyle, like, and that's really difficult. Like, if you have been a certain way with your work ethic for a long time, it's hard to break bad habits. I know I almost feel like a hypocrite making this video because a lot of times I know this is what I should be doing and I end up not doing it. But that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I don't like seeing people making the same mistakes that I have made before, because I know how bad it can get. And sometimes I feel like we need reminders. Like, I will forget to take care of myself until my friends or my mom are like, go to bed, or drink some water. Did you drink your water today? Like, did you drink anything but coffee today? Sometimes we need kind of a kick in the ass. And a reminder that work is important, building up your brand is important, working on your artwork is important, but none of that is worth anything if you're sick or you can't do it anymore or you burn out. Like, taking care of yourself should and will always be the most important thing you should and can do for yourself. You know, like, don't forget that. There's no point in burning yourself out and getting well known and then realizing you can't do it anymore by the time you're 30. So, yeah. You are the most important part of everything you do as an artist or a creator or whatever you do for a living, so keep that in mind. Sorry this video was a little long, and even though it was a little long, I still talked twice as fast as normal human beings do, so there's a lot of information here. But I hope that was helpful to some people. Yeah, I will hopefully have some drawing videos up soon. Unfortunately, like I said, my YouTube channel kind of fell to the side when I had too much work to do, and that was one of the things I had to say no to, was making new videos, because I just didn't have time for it. But I'm hoping to be able to get back into it soon. We'll see. And I will have a few more videos in terms of, like, this whole mental health thing coming up soon, if I have time. The vlogs are a little bit easier and faster to film than the drawing videos, so we'll see how it goes. But until my next video, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!